PhD for over 20 years, but also I am a person who every single day, all I do is I wake up every morning and I think about finances and money and Black economics in particular. That's what I think about every morning. I was in the gym this morning with my wife, and I'm lucky right now because we used to have to get up at 4:45 a.m. because she was doing that boot camp, where she had these like angry white people telling her what to do and stuff. And I didn't want to do that because that triggers me. Somebody might get slapped if, I don't know about y'all, but somebody might get slapped. You up here barking at me when I'm tired. But in all seriousness, though, I don't do the boot camp with her. But what I do is I made an agreement to get up with her every morning. So we would just roll out of bed at 4:45. It is so brutal. It is the hardest thing in the world. But I'm always glad I did it. And so now we're lucky. Now we get to sleep in until 6:15. So that literally feels like I'm waking up in the afternoon. Like it's so crazy how that you set a standard and you just get used to that standard. And I think that's really what I think is something to kind of consider for us as a people, as a community, is I think that we have to understand one fundamental aspect, one fundamental dimension of what a powerful community looks like. One aspect or one characteristic of a powerful community, in my opinion, is that they tend to set high standards. Right? Let me know if you agree with that. Give me a yes if you agree that standards are critical. That if you set high standards, then you're going to achieve great things. If you set the standard low, then you're going to suffer. Now, this gives me an insight into my experience as a Black man in America. I believe that one type of very subtle racism that we get exposed to that we don't really talk about is the curse of low expectations. I've heard somebody use that specific term, and I'm going to borrow that term. I don't know who used that term originally because it's not my term, but I heard it and I said, I think that's it. I think that's it. Right. So when that little Black boy goes to school and they say, "Well, he's a Black boy. He can't do nothing. He's from the hood. He kids from the boys from the hood. They can't accomplish nothing. He look at all he's gone through." And then they bring the kid to school. They don't push him very hard. They don't challenge him. They don't get him to jump any high hurdles. He's pretty much they pretty much train him to be a bottom dweller, educationally speaking, anyway. Like you look at the city of Chicago, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of the Black children in our school system in Chicago cannot read, write, or do math at grade level. They cannot read, write, or do math at grade level. And I hope that you can agree with me. Give me a yes if you agree that this is setting them up for failure in life. Let me know if you understand how detrimental that is, how terrible that is. You're literally throwing them out here with the wolves in this world of competitive economics where it's no prisoners taken, no holds barred. It's either own or be owned. Either you win or you become a slave. That's what capitalism does. So we've explained that in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can go get a copy if you haven't gotten it yet. There's a study guide with it as well, but drboycebooks.com. In that book, I explain to you specifically how, American economics, American capitalism is designed for slavery. There is such a thing as a school to prison pipeline. Thank you, Calvin. There is such a thing as as corporations trying to incarcerate you. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they were talking about how they have one challenge they have now is that since the pandemic ended, people don't want to go to work and kids don't want to go to school because what happened is that people got a whiff of what it's like to just do what you want and to just kind of live and be free and do whatever. And now they're like, I now I realize all that stuff y'all told me that was mandatory is actually optional. All the things that you told me that I had to do, I didn't really have to do it because y'all just told us that we don't have to do it anymore because there's this virus. And so effectively, a lot of companies have had to really pay premiums to people that have jobs where they actually have to be there. Like if you're the cook in the kitchen or you're doing electrical work and you can't do work you can't do work remotely anymore. The remote work jobs, the pay has got to kind of going down a little bit or staying flat, whereas the in-person work, the work that you do in person, that's what they're paying the premium for. Okay, and so sometimes what happens is that when we're talking about the realities of what's going on, the curse of low expectations, or that we've got to do better and pushing ourselves to do better, I often run into these people that you might have seen that I've talked about before, and I call them the Negro naysayers. And the Negro naysayers are people who find a problem with every solution. The Negro naysayer is somebody, you probably have a couple in your family, and the Negro naysayer is somebody that literally believes black people have no potential. They literally think that by setting higher expectations that you're being anti-black. That when I say, "Hey, why don't we step our game up?" They say, "Well, you think you're white, or or you hate black people, or if you say, well, what's wrong with that? Like, why are we doing this? We shouldn't be conducting ourselves that way." Do you have people that say, "Well, you're anti-black culture. You're anti-black. You're not for the people. You're not." And honestly, I'm gonna just tell you the truth. I've got to the point where I don't pay attention to that anymore. I just don't. I don't care. I just don't care. My position is either you get it or you don't. You're either going to survive or you're going to lose. You're either going to rise up or you want to stay down. And people, it's okay to choose to stay down. If you want to stay down and that's where you're comfortable, that's where you need to be. I'm here in the morning with you every day because I'm in the trenches with you. We are at battle. This is war. I'm literally I feel like a military commander, and I'm getting up every morning and I am sitting down with the troops and I'm saying and I don't preach to the heathens, I preach to the choir. I don't preach to the heathens, I preach to the choir. And let me know if you know what that means. Like